What's up, gamers? Welcome to episode 2 of 4 Gamers Only. This is the new podcast after RDGH. We are now 4GO, and we are here for the second episode. I am your host, Glenn Gordon, and with me I have 2 members of the 4GO crew. You met them before. This week we've got Gary Bagdasarov. How are you, Gary?
I'm pretty good. How are you today, Glenn?
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. What have you been playing lately?
Final Fantasy.
Sure.
A lot of Final Fantasy 14. I've also been playing some Alien Isolation and still going through Dragon Age Inquisition.
You almost said Guild Wars 2, didn't you?
I almost did. For some reason, it was on my mind.
Actually, Guild Wars 2 has been on my mind a lot, too. I feel myself getting pulled into it once again. But that's another story. We've also got the original Ben Sterling. Even if we're not doing nicknames anymore, like we did on RDGH, I might just still call this guy Ben Sterling. Ben Shillabeer Hall, how are you, Ben?
Oh, I'm a little bit tired tonight, but I shall soldier on.
Soldier on.
Yeah.
Keep calm and soldier on. What have you been? I'm gonna guess that you've been playing the same thing as Gary. In fact, I think you're playing that right now, aren't you?
Yeah, we're playing Final Fantasy. We're queuing up for a dungeon.
That's because I don't get to play anything because I have to host a podcast, you know.
Yeah.
Well, now you made me feel bad.
That was the point.
It's okay, we can play it for you.
You're
we can
welcome.
Enjoy the game for you.
No, that's okay.
I want to cry. You make me cry.
Don't make me wear my chicken dress.
What? It's been a couple weeks, guys. After episode 1 was recorded and published, we had some things to do. We had to clear our name with iTunes. We are now on iTunes. If you search for 4 Gamers Only, 4 spelled out, you will see us there, our blue and black and white logo with 4GO on it. We're now on iTunes. We now have a website that Podbean gives us with the podcast service thing, 4gamersonly.podbean.com. We've put our stuff on YouTube. Our YouTube is 4Gamers Only. At least I think it is. I'm not sure anymore. I'll have to look. I'll let you know before the podcast is over. And we've also put our stuff on N4G. So we're getting our name out there, and as of right now, I believe about 178, 180 of you have tuned in to listen. So welcome, and thanks for listening to episode 1. This is episode 2, and hopefully going forward we'll slip into a more regular schedule now that we are finally all set up. That didn't stop some of you from giving us tweets. These guys were mostly fans of RDGH when we were doing that. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been posting a few things, and I posted something from Sony. Sony was at the Consumer Electronics Show. Among other things, they debuted, or at least they displayed, a TV. And it's one of their 4K TVs, and being a Sony 4K, it's probably ridiculously expensive. And it's also ridiculously thin. This TV is thinner than a pencil. I'm not lying. It's literally thinner than their smartphones. That's kind of ridiculously thin, and it's a gorgeous TV. This isn't a podcast about TVs, so I'm just going to keep that brief. Check it out. It's literally the world's thinnest TV. So if thinness means anything to you,
I think better be made of adamantium, and it breaks. It looks like it breaks just by holding it on one end and not holding it on the other one. It just bends and breaks.
You know, you're not the only person. I was looking at it a little bit, and a lot of people are concerned about, you know, how durable is it. And the same with a lot of devices, and the iPad's another one, because thinner and a new camera seems to be Apple's MO when it comes to releasing new iPads and new iPhones. So.
We already saw the problem with the iPhone. People put it in their pocket.
It becomes the eye bend.
See, that wasn't actually a big problem. That was not nearly the big problem. That was literally just a handful of them.
But it still happened.
It still happened to like a handful of phones. I mean, a lot of products release are defective. Or at least have defective units. So that was the way it came out. Everyone was making it sound like, oh my goodness, all of the iPhone 6s and all of the iPhone 6X, 6 Pluses are bending when you put them in their pocket. And that wasn't at all. It was literally just a few of them. You know, it wasn't that many of them. So I don't know. Just be careful when you hear rumors. This is for gamers too. Be careful when you get to rumors and when you get to information, because it's not everything as it seems. But we do have some tweets. One comes from Ahmed Ameo, who goes by @Gabalto on Twitter. He said, "Nice site. Thank you very much." Gary and Ben, I think I've given you the link to the site. Have you checked it out yet?
Oh, what site? Our site?
What's that?
Yes.
No, I have not seen it.
Oh,
I
how
have
dare
not.
you? Okay.
I don't think you linked it to me. I haven't seen any link for it.
I know I have. Okay, I'll give it to you again. Here you go. forgamersonly.podbean.com. There you go. Oh, that's not a link, but you can copy and paste that.
Oh, yeah. I will
Um,
check that when I can.
when you can. Oh yeah, you're playing Final Fantasy. Slacker. Thanks for the tweet, Ahmed, and keep tuning in. Eric at EricHan76, Eric Schwarzer, he said, "Did any of you guys have a TurboGrafx 16? That's one of my favorite systems growing up." I have not heard of a. Well, no, that's not true. I have heard of a TurboGrafx 16. I've never had one. I don't know much about it. But what about either of you guys?
God, no, it's way too expensive.
Yeah, I heard of it. I never bought it. My first console was Sega Genesis, so.
Yeah.
The first one that I've ever owned was a PS2, so no, I haven't done the TurboGrafx. But that's
I don't know what the Sega Genesis are, but I had a Sega Mega Drive.
a Sega Mega Drive.
Yeah. That's what the European term for Genesis was.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Well, actually, both Japan and Europe used the Sega Mega Drive name. America was the only one that didn't call it the Mega Drive.
Well, that's because America's weird. Like,
It's because they thought it wouldn't sell with the name Mega Drive. They didn't think it was cool enough.
we're still on the standard system of measurement. Like,
Yeah, that's why Dr. Robotnik's name was Dr. Robotnik for so long, because they didn't think Eggman was cool enough, because that was the original Japanese name in Sonic.
it is kind of a ridiculous name.
It is a
I'm not
ridiculous
gonna lie.
name, but he is a man shaped like an egg.
That's also pretty ridiculous. But I mean, there are
It's Sonic, you're a blue hedgehog.
there are men that are shaped like pears. So
I should be Ben Bull.
Peter Griffin is shaped like a pear. That's literally his shape, a pear. But he's an animated man. That's different. Thank you for the tweet, Eric. We have several tweets from two of our long-time listeners. One is the Fonz, and I'll go through his kind of quickly. He says, "Does it feel weird that RDGH is over? Do you have any favorite moments of the show?" To me, yes, it does feel weird. I've been thinking this over, and at the end of RDGH, we always had a bit of a sign-off there. We would say, "We wish you a great week, great gaming, and don't be a racist," because we were Racial Diversity Gaming Hour. Tongue-in-cheek, of course, with the whole difference between consoles as races, portrayed as races. So now I've been thinking, like, what in the world are we supposed to say now that we're for gamers only? And it feels so natural to say don't be a racist now. But favorite moments of the show? Goodness, I couldn't pick one. We talk about a lot of stuff. I'd say some of my favorite moments are Chipmunk Gary. I mean,
Thank you.
the thing about it is Chipmunk Gary and Gary's phone, they still show up in 4GO, apparently.
Yes.
So those
yes.
are... the fun never ends. We did have Don Oliveira on one episode, didn't we?
Yes.
That was pretty good. And there was one where it was... I think we were talking about Dread Fox. He had done some nonsense with... Dread Fox is the voice actor for Parappa the Rapper, and we had the guys from... Oh yeah, he was really... He scammed some money out of these two guys, I think it was, allegedly speaking, of course. And we had those two guys on at one point. That was pretty memorable. So, just
before Christmas, there was more issues again with him threatening to bring his homies in next time he comes into that state. Yeah, if the guy, the guy that got scammed, if he was ever in the same state as Dread Fox again, he'll bring his homies in and...
Who's that? Fat Princess? Is his homies? He's Parappa the Rapper. Who's he gonna bring? Fat Princess?
That's awesome.
Oh, Jamalami.
Come on.
Jamulami. Use a guitar to...
Dread Fox needs a reality check. I mean...
all his homies.
Well, fine. He can bring his homies. And he can be arrested, too. Because, like, there's totally evidence of everything he's been doing.
That's so funny, man.
Who's this homie supposed to be? Go for it, man. If he's ever in this state again, like what the heck? Who made you the border police? Anyway, I'm gonna stop with that right now because we can move on. But anyway, what do you guys feel? Any moments stand out from RDGH?
There's that one episode I hosted, which is pretty interesting.
You did host an episode.
I don't quite remember what happened in that episode, but
It went well.
Did it?
Yeah.
I like to hear this.
What?
I like to hear that it went
You
well.
like to hear that it went well? Yeah, it went well. You can host again sometime if you want.
I would love to.
Oh, sweet. You never asked, so I never offered. So there's that coming soon. Fonz also says the first episode of the show is a success, and I enjoy it. Looking forward to many more episodes.
What about my favourite episode?
Oh, your favorites don't count.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding, Ben. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What?
It's that episode we spent most of it talking about Goat Simulator. That was
That's every episode, man. That's every episode.
Dude, just last week you called us 4 goats only.
Yeah, but no, we spent a whole episode talking about Goat Simulator at one point.
Yeah,
That
we
was-
did.
That was the best episode.
I remember the music that we used. Big thanks to, oh goodness, I'd have to look in my files to get his name, but he made, apparently PewDiePie was talking about Goat Simulator, and he went off, and PewDiePie does his silliness with his voice sometimes, and he actually made a song, and it's a pretty terrific song, and he gave us permission to use it. We've played it a few times on RDGH. We might play it again here soon.
Nice.
Sauce.
Anything else for favorite moments?
That episode that Gary did a host, he was pretty good at it.
He said that.
He was
already.
really good. Maybe one day I'll host.
Oh,
Maybe.
if you want to.
Not really.
Not really.
I've got enough hosting with Unchained.
I'd just like to see Kyle get on.
Oh, that'd be good.
Kyle's technically part of this, but he hasn't been around. He was around on Monday, but I screwed up. So there's that.
He might be free for Unchained this weekend, so we'll see.
He's talking about PlayStation Unchained from PSU.com. Ben is in charge of that.
But I'll when he's on though this weekend, if he is, I'll pester him for Forgo.
Okay.
Like, go on, you should go on it. You know, you should forego some meetings and be on Forgo.
There we go. Exactly. That's how it goes.
Forgo, man.
Forgo. Thank you for that compliment there, Fonz. Keep tuning in. A few more from Fonz. He says, now that 4K resolution is rising, do you see Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo implementing it in gaming? Who do you think will do it first? That's interesting because when the PS4 and Xbox One came, when they were first launching, that question was asked, will there be 4K gaming? And Sony said that the PS4 is capable of 4K video, but not yet 4K gaming. I think what Shuhei Yoshida said was, quote, that it doesn't do 4K gaming. He didn't say that it won't. He didn't say that it can't. He said that it doesn't, and that was like a year ago. So it's possible that as the technology gets cheaper and easier to deal with, and as more 4K TVs go on the market, Sony could do 4K gaming. Microsoft, I know, is looking into it. I don't know what steps they've taken or how far away that may be. As for who does it first, I have no clue. Just as a random guess, I'm going to say Sony. What do you guys think? Just because Sony's been doing 4K a lot, they've been working with 4K TVs and 4K technology, whereas Microsoft is more with software. But what do you guys think?
I want to. Oh, carry on.
Go ahead, man. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to say that whoever gets the next generation of consoles out will be the first one to do 4K gaming.
Whoever, what?
PS4 and Xbox One don't really have the hardware to support 4K gaming, unless it's very simplified games like maybe Trine or 2D platforming games where it's not too much on screen. But for actual like you won't see something like Uncharted in 4K. The amount of power in the system is not high enough to support 4K.
Well,
It's
I
just-
mean, it's not now, but every time consoles release, we always hear, this is what the console can do now, but wait until a few years down the road when developers are used to this and more power is unlocked or whatever.
Nah,
What
either-
possibilities do you think can can come of
It-
that?
4K is something that I doubt we'll see this generation. You might see better anti-aliasing by the end of the generation, a lot more better effects, but they'd have to sacrifice the effects for resolution if they wanted to push 4K. And so you'd have more. You've got a choice of having more blander looking games but sharper, or better looking games and not as sharp. Chances are the public will prefer having the not as sharp but better looking games. It takes a lot to run 4K. A lot.
It's true that Microsoft has been having problems with resolution.
Yeah. So if Xbox One's having trouble running at 1080p, 4K is 4 times the amount of pixels on screen. It's just these consoles with their low, because their GPU and the PS4 GPU is slightly better, but the CPU in both the PS4 and Xbox One are mobile chips. They're laptop parts. So yeah, the GPU is not too bad, but overall it's not great. The only saving grace is the RAM, but that's only for the PS4 really, because it's got 8 gig of 5.5 I think it is of usable GDR4, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So it has a slight, because that's good RAM for resolution, but overall no, the hardware won't really allow it unless it's as I said before, like an indie game like it's something that's not pushing too much on screen, like a lot of animations and stuff like that. Like a horror game would probably be good at 4K, possibly.
Gary, anything to add?
I was actually just going to agree with Ben. I don't think we'll see it in this generation of games. Probably next. As far as who does it first, I think Sony will do it first. But I don't think right now anybody really wants to mess with, because it's still kind of brand new. Sony especially kind of has learned from their mistakes. They went full force with the 3D TVs, and that didn't really take off for them. So,
Well, that said, sorry to interrupt. There's a difference though, because 3D is a completely different type of technology. 4K is just an increase in resolution. 3D requires the glasses, and it requires special hardware. It can make you feel dizzy.
It's not much different really, to be honest. It's just the resolution split into two. That's why passive screens, it's never actually 1080p, the passive screen, because it splits the screen in two, so it's actually like 420p.
Mm-hmm.
So an active is at 1080p because it beams it twice.
But what I'm trying to say is, I don't think they're going to do it right away. They're going to see how the technology or how it's received before they jump into it. I think they jumped into it 3D before people really bought 3D TVs, like a lot of people. And I think they'll wait it out and see how well 4K does before they put the money into it, in my opinion.
Okay. Fonz, I'm going to read these two quickly here. He said he just earned the Lego Batman 3 Platinum. The Vita version was a good game. Lego games tend to do that. He also says Uncharted 4 will win Game of the Year. Troy Baker and Nolan North in the same game. Naughty Dog's story and the gameplay, it's a winning combination for sure. So thank you for all of that, Fonz. We're getting between you and Tori here and Shifty, we've got like a novel here to read.
Game of the Year already, huh? It's going to be interesting, especially if it comes out this year. I think this will be a very close race for Game of the Year this year.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good games out on both PlayStation and on Xbox.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. Just a heads up, Eric at EricHan79, he also said that he tweeted me personally, but this is just for anyone else who uses this. He says he uses an app called Overcast, and he asks, it's basically just a podcast app, and he said, will I be able to subscribe to your new podcast on there? And he said, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too, sir. Yes, you can absolutely subscribe to us on Overcast. Search for 4Gamers Only. If you don't see us, find our website. It's 4gamersonly.podbean.com/feed/FEED. And with Overcast, you can add that to you can add that link to Overcast, and from then on it'll just subscribe you just like any other podcast on Overcast. So if you don't find us on Overcast, I think we should be there. If you don't find us there, just add us and we'll be there. You'll be subscribed. So just a heads up. Tori, in response to the TV, at Shifty25, in response to the TV, he says, I wonder how hot it runs, which is a good question for something that thin. He also says, while Ubisoft definitely deserves the criticism for its blunders, I don't think its problems stem from the number of studios working on it. I think it was you, Gary, who was saying that Ubisoft was just... I mean, let's face it, Ubisoft had a really rough 2014. And I think it was you that was saying that that's just because they keep cramming all these studios onto one project. Was it you who was saying that, or was it Ben, or both of you?
It was me.
It was you? Okay. Shifty disagrees. He didn't say... Oh, no, he did. Here he says. Look at Rogue. It had 7 studios work on it, and it was a solid game. Far Cry 4 had at least 5, and it was solid. The crew was relatively solid. I believe Unity was a victim of wanting to push the consoles to do too much with all the extra AI plus great graphics.
I think the difference there is Far Cry is not a yearly game. Assassin's Creed is. That's why it performed better. They had a lot more time to work on it.
Well, he did mention that Rogue, Assassin's Creed Rogue had 7 studios work on it, and he says it's a solid game.
Different is Rogue used the same engine as before.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue used the Assassin's Creed 3 engine, so they can't really screw up something that's already programmed.
Right.
They made a completely new engine for Uni.
So where he says he believes that Unity was a victim of wanting to push the consoles to do too much with all the extra AI plus great graphics, that's probably part of them trying to get the engine for Unity out into the world.
Probably.
Yeah,
I can pretty much agree with that. Yeah, like it was, what am I trying to say? The new engine, new technology, the game probably wasn't going to perform as well as the others. I can see that easily, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's the same engine they used for Watch Dogs. So.
Right. Well, Watch Dogs.
I mean, if they didn't learn the lesson from Watch Dogs, then I don't know if I can really blame the engine then.
That game was a disappointment. A very unfortunate disappointment. But that aside, thank you guys for the tweets. Thank you for following up with us. If you want to join the discussions, if you want to join the party, head to Twitter and find us at 4G only, number 4 letter G ONLY, and you will be following 4Gamers Only, because that's how Twitter works. So follow us there. We'll be posting questions of the week, and we'll be discussing what and when we can. So thanks for your tweets, guys. A lot of what were you saying?
One last message before you. I got a message saying on PSN a while back, saying a couple of days ago actually, saying great work on the podcast guides. He likes it. Keep up the good work. That was
sweet.
From someone called Wanna Burn.
Wanna Burn?
Yeah.
That's a cool name. Well, thank you, sir. Thanks for tuning in, and hope we continue to shine here. A lot of news was missed over the past 2 weeks while we were finishing getting everything set up for 4GO. Most notably, the biggest news was the debacle over the holidays, over Christmas, where Lizard Squad decided to take down both Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. Both of them were down for Christmas and for several days afterward, I believe, especially PlayStation, and we'll talk about PlayStation in just a minute. But the networks went down, no one was able to get online and play their games. A lot of gamers across the nation, internet savvy or otherwise, were really they were really upset, and in my opinion their anger was misplaced. They were very angry at Sony and Microsoft for being hacked, and that's another thing. These companies weren't hacked. Lizard Squad, I don't think, knows how to hack. They don't hack. They use distributed denial of service, which is basically just they overload the server with fake users. You know, it's like filling up a restaurant with a bunch of dummies, a bunch of mannequins They're not actual customers, but they take up space and make it hard to move around, and they slow everything down. So that's what they were doing. No, a hack. The difference is important because when you say something was hacked, you're implying that the security was bad, the service was broken into, and possibly even sensitive information like customer personal information and credit card information was stolen. So when you say that, that's a big, big deal. This was not a hack. Everything is safe. They just took the service down. So the services went down. After a while, Kim.com, who runs Mega Upload, or ran Mega Upload when it was Mega Upload, now it's just Mega, he decided, oh, well, let's fix this. And he offered the members of Lizard Squad lifetime free premium memberships to Mega for as long as they did not attack Xbox Live and PSN anymore. So those attacks stopped. Here's where things get interesting. Xbox pretty much got straight back up. I mean, they had some delays, but they got up pretty quickly. It's all in the recovery. When you're attacked and your servers are down, there's nothing anyone can really do right now to fight against a DDoS, a distributed denial of service. So if someone's DDoSing you, there's really nothing you can do. Just wait it out. And when they got back, when the DDoS was over, Xbox got right back up. PlayStation took a few days. And that's interesting because, I mean, PlayStation Network has been having a lot of issues. PlayStation users can probably attest to this. There's been a lot of maintenance. And maintenance is fine, but then the network would go down like 2 or 3 days before the maintenance, and it would just go down, and there wouldn't really be much of an explanation for it. And so there's been a lot of turmoil with PSN, and that was really highlighted, in my opinion, by how long PlayStation Network took to get back up again after the DDoS attack stopped. As for the DDoS attack, right now I think it was performed by a teenager in Finland who goes by Ryan C. At the time, he said that, as far as reasons go, they've been saying all sorts of things like, oh, we're just doing it because we can, we're doing it for the lulz, we're doing it to expose a vulnerability in these services, which is complete BS, because like I just said, there's no way to defend on them, to defend against a DDoS attack. There's no vulnerability, there's no security, like there's nothing you can do. So to expose a vulnerability, BS. But I think their real reasoning came out when they decided, they announced this service that they launched, where you can pay Lizard Squad a certain amount, and they will give you the tools that they used to take down these services. In my mind, I believe them when they say that, because now money is involved. Now there's an actual motive. Hey, we took these networks down repeatedly and gave everyone all this headache because we wanted to advertise the capability of our product here. And now that everyone has seen what it can do, we want to sell that. So now they claim to be selling the tools that they use to take down these services. It's called Lizard... I didn't write it down. It's Lizard something or other. And it basically just clogs up someone's server. And so there's that going around. So those were, in a nutshell, the events of the holidays. And please remember the difference between a hack and hack is kind of a buzzword for whenever someone on the internet goes and makes something do what it's not supposed to do. But there is a distinct and important difference, because that implies something very important, that something might have been stolen. So I'm going to stop talking now because I've been talking a lot. I'm going to take a sip of water here. What do you guys have to say about everything that went on over the holidays? Because this was a big deal for a lot of gamers.
Well, we talked about this a lot before, and I get kind of tired of talking about it. But to me, I appreciate what the guy did to stop the attacks. But then in another way, I'm like, you pretty much just gave in to them. You pretty much submitted to them, and to me, that's not right.
For me, I feel like it's worse that he gave them something. I mean, yes, in the short term, that got them to stop the attacks, but that also sends the message, he rewarded them for what they were doing.
Pretty much, yeah. And now somebody else might do the same thing and be like, oh, we want this stuff.
Exactly.
Until we get it, we're not going to stop. So it's I'm just really tired of it. Like you can throw out all the stupid reasons you want, but to me the real reason, in my opinion, Lizard Squad did it is so they can get more followers and on their Twitter.
Mm-hmm. And you know what sucks? I wrote an article about this on PSU, and it's like it sucks that we live in a world now where a teenager from Finland can take down our services just for kicks, and still feel pretty safe, and feel pretty bold in saying, "Oh, FBI, come at me," because there are extradition laws which make it difficult for the United States to criminalize him. They make it different because he's not a citizen of the United States. He's not in the United States. He's in Finland. So he seems to feel like there's absolutely nothing we can do. He's wrong. We can do things, but it's just really difficult and really complicated just because of the distance between us. So it sucks that we're in a world where now people are like, oh, let's just commit cybercrime for other countries because we think we can get away with it.
Exactly.
So,
Plus, technically, there is no law against a DDoS attack.
there's no law against the DDoS attack?
Yeah, there's no actual. It'd be very hard for them to charge them with anything anyway, even if they got caught. Because there's no actual. See, most of like if it was a breach of security, then they could be charged by that. But by a DDoS attack, it's not. I don't know. There's probably some laws that I don't know about because I'm not, attorney. But not that I know of. There's nothing really that covers DDoS criminally.
No, nothing yet. Nothing
Yeah.
with a name yet, because what makes this so serious and what makes DDoS attacks so devastating is that these are companies that are affected. During that time that PSN and Xbox Live were down, they lost money on sales because no one could buy anything from them because their network was down. You know, not only that, but that hurts them PR wise because that shows, hey, we can get attacked, and it doesn't help that media outlets, just traditional media outlets like the news, were going around saying, "Oh my goodness, Sony and Microsoft got hacked! Run for your lives!" So that didn't help either. So like you've got a damaged reputation, you've got loss of money. If there is really no law right now that protects online companies, believe me, it's coming. It is coming.
Oh, it has to come. And by the way, anyone who pays for that service is just stupid.
Yeah.
The Liquid Squad, Lizard Squad, not Liquid Squad, because
Lizard Stressor, that's what it was called.
Yeah. It's just no, don't bother. It's I don't want to talk too much because DDoS are bad, but trust me, if you look online, you can find the probably same software they're using right now, and get it for free. Yeah, DDoSs are very easy to do.
Yeah, they're not hard at all, and they'll go around. They go around on their Twitter and they say things like, "Oh, we're so much better than Anonymous." Anonymous is an actual hacker group, and they actually they've hacked governments. They were allegedly responsible for the big PlayStation Network hack back in 2011 that took PSN down for a couple months. They are actual hackers, and it makes me smile a little to see them because they're like, "Oh, anonymous who's anonymous?" And it's like, well, yeah, I think they're scum, but at least they're scum that's actually accomplished something. That they actually
did something.
Yeah. So
I was going to say something. Oh, that was it. They should. I said. I think I said on this Unchained actually as well. I don't know. Sony should, and then Microsoft should do exactly what Steam did when they got DDoSed last year. Basically, what they did is they found the addresses and names of all the people that attacked them, and offered them jobs. Offered them all jobs, and then when they arrived at their new fantastic job that they just got from their amazing elite hacking skills, the FBI was there waiting for them, and they all got arrested.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. That's another reason I think a lot of people try to do this hacking or cyber attack thing, because they feel like, oh, if we prove our skill enough, we'll just get hired and we'll get fancy new jobs.
You'd be surprised at how many people do that, though. A lot of
Oh
people
yeah,
do get fired because of it.
because there is value in that kind of skill, but at the same time, it's a crime. You're hurting a lot of people when you do that.
The best part about that whole story, Ben, is that Steam recovered in 1 day after that.
That was
I
the
guess
best.
they're more. I guess they're more awesome than Microsoft and Sony.
You broke up for me there. You got the best part of Steam and then it died.
Oh, sorry. I said that they recovered in a day after that
Oh
attack.
yeah.
Yeah. So one of the big questions is just what's going on with PSN that made it take so long to recover, as opposed to Microsoft, who was up pretty quickly.
It's because secretly my internet is what hosts PSN. My broadband is PSN.
Oh, so when they took that down, it was just you.
Yeah, it's just
So you're
I'm
fighting
the
by
only
yourself.
host for the whole of the world.
Okay.
So I decided I spilled coffee. It wasn't a DDoS. I just spilled some tea on my router and just turned down PSN. Sorry about that, everyone.
That explains why you get to go to all the cool stuff up there. Let's keep talking about PS4 for just a little bit. As I mentioned, the Consumer Electronics Show was pretty recent, and a lot of interesting stuff was announced there. Sony was there, and other than a fancy slim TV, they also announced an important stat for the PS4. The PlayStation 4 has officially crossed the 18.5 million sold through mark. There's a difference between sold through and sold in. Sold in is sold to retailers. Sold through is sold to consumers. That's PS4s in people's homes. So we have 18.5 million PS4s in people's homes. No word from Microsoft. Last I heard, they had sold 10 million units. I'm not sure if that's sold. I'm pretty sure that that's sold through for Microsoft.
That last we knew was shipped 10 million.
Was shipped 10 million? Okay,
Yeah.
so
But that was a long time ago, so chances are it should be sold.
no, there was one. There was one pretty recent that I was pretty sure said sold through. No guarantee. I'd have to go find it again to be sure, but that's what I think happened. So, long story short, despite a very strong holiday season for the Xbox One, PS4 is still kicking some serious butt. I mean, yeah, Xbox beat it, but that doesn't mean PS4 was standing still. So,
Well, no, the PS4 was outsold it the holiday season.
in November,
End of November, December. Last I knew.
November, Xbox One November. Our last show, our last 4GO episode.
Yeah, but
1 was
Sony
that.
made a statement saying the fact that the last week of November and the rest of December, it outsold the Xbox One.
Oh, okay. So so Xbox did get the November thing, but then it just crashed right back down again.
Yeah,
Okay.
especially now that Microsoft's increased the price of the Xbox One.
Yes, that's another bit of information. The Xbox One was down to $350 and 350 British pounds for the holidays. And when we say for the holidays, Microsoft means for the holidays. So the price is back to its original $400, on par with the PlayStation 4. So that's that. So congratulations to the PS4 and to the Xbox One. I mean, Xbox One had a pretty strong holiday season. I bought one back in October with Sunset Overdrive, and I've been enjoying it very much. So congrats to both. There's good progress. Just a year, I mean, not much more than a year since these two have launched, and you've already got a console that's sold almost 20 million units. That's fantastic. That's amazing. Just shows how strong the console gaming industry really is, contrary to a lot of beliefs out there. So that's pretty cool. Also at CES was Nyko. If you're not familiar with Nyko, NYKO, they make peripherals for different gaming consoles. And Nyko announced a couple different peripherals. First was the TypePad, which is a keyboard that you plug into the 3.5 millimeter jack on the bottom of your DualShock 4 controller. It's a keyboard and it has a little analog stick on it just for navigating through menus, so that's pretty cool. Supposed to release for the first half of 2015. Also, and pretty much more significantly, is the data bank for the PS4. It is a little block that sits on top of the PS4, It matches the design of the PS4 pretty perfectly. It looks good with it. And what it does is it allows the PS4 to support 3.5-inch hard drives. Currently, the PS4 supports only the 2.5-inch drives that are usually found in laptops and some all-in-one computers. With the data bank, it can support the 3.5-inch drives. You'd want to do that because the 3.5-inch drives are cheaper and allow for more space. They can also be faster, depends on what you get and how much you're willing to spend. So there are benefits to a 3.5 drive, but gamers should keep in mind that Nyko is planning to release the data bank at, I believe it said $30 to $40. So keep in mind that depending on what hard drive you get, sometimes the price difference between the 3.5-inch and the 2.5-inch can be $30 to $40 or even less. So be mindful of that. There's no point in buying the data drive for a 3.5 millimeter if you can just get a 3.5-inch if you can just get the 2.5-inch for the same price. Anything to say on these peripherals, guys?
Not.
It looks ugly.
It's ugly? You think it's ugly?
It looks very ugly.
I think it looks nice.
It's like a little lump. It's like your PlayStation 4's got pregnant.
With a square on top of it?
It's giving bits. It's halfway into its pregnancy. It's going to give birth to another PS4 eventually.
Hey, that will be the PS4 Slim. There you go. That's how. This is how consoles are born.
I wonder how the PS4 Slim is going to look like.
I don't know.
It'd be the opposite. It'd be like Nintendo. Instead of going for the slim model, they'll go for the PS4 XL, twice the size.
Let's just make it bigger.
I will say this though: it's nice that I can put a regular hard drive in there because those are a lot cheaper than the laptop hard drives I have to put into my PS4. So that's nice. But other than that, it does look pretty ugly.
I don't think it looks. I don't think it looks ugly. I don't think it looks as good as just the plain PS4, but I don't think it looks ugly.
I don't know. It's some random accessory attached, and it just looks off and weird. In my opinion.
All right, so there it goes. So that's news from CES. Here's something that I think you guys will definitely have some opinions on. PlayStation has recently announced the subscription prices for PlayStation Now. PlayStation Now is, of course, the PlayStation streaming service that allows you to stream video games to the PS3 video games right now, to the PS4 and the PS Vita, and eventually smartphones and Sony Bravia TVs. So we've had that rolling out. There have been a few betas going on. Now the actual subscription prices have been announced. You can subscribe to PlayStation Now for $19.99 in US dollars every month, or you can get 3 months for, I believe it was $44.99 or $49.99, one of the two.
$44.99.
$44.99. So $45 for 3 months and $20 for 1 month. There's been a lot of debate about this price. In my opinion, because I think a lot of people are conditioned to believe, okay, if it's a subscription service, we should probably pay about $10. You know, Netflix is like that. Netflix is like $8, Hulu's $7, Crunchyroll's like $6, Dropbox is $10, Spotify Premium's $10. Everything's like $10 or less. So now when Sony launches this service and it's coming at $20, everyone's like, oh, that's way too expensive. At least that's how I think it's going. But what do you think? Is this price really unreasonable?
I think it's a fair price for it. Personally, you get over 100 games you can play at any time, whenever you want. $20 I don't think is unreasonable. Of course, you can go with the 3-month plan, which will make it $15 a month if you go with that plan. But with the amount of games that you get, especially when it becomes available to play on your Vita and your phone and your TVs, I think $19.99 is a very good price for what they're offering.
Do you agree, Ben?
I don't know. I don't know the UK price. They haven't even got it out here yet. But
it was just the US price.
Yeah, PS Now's not even, the beta hasn't even launched in Europe yet.
So say that it cost, just going by the way they tend to price the console, say that it cost £15 a month, or £44 for 3 months, or £45, excuse me, for 3 months.
No, because that would be I wouldn't be saving any money then.
Well,
It should be-
It's not designed to save you money.
Well, no, if you get $19, it will save you. What is that? It'll save you $15 if you get the 3 months.
Okay, if it's the equivalent price, Ben, for
Yeah.
the UK.
Okay, then yeah, I think it would be good. I would subscribe straight away.
I can agree, and here's where I think that the real value of the service comes in, because say that you're talking Hulu or Netflix, right? Because I think that those are what people tend to compare this directly to. These are movies, you play them for an hour, they're done. Whereas video games are really big. I mean, video games usually retail, when you actually sell a video game to someone, you usually sell it for 2 to 3 times more than you'd sell a movie. And that's because there are just so many more aspects to a video game. And so when you have a service like a Netflix or a Hulu that deals with video games, it makes complete sense that that service would be more expensive. And then you also have licensing and all these other things to pay for. I think that the price is pretty good. I mean, yeah, it's definitely more than what most subscriptions cost, but for what it is, it's fair. And you have to look past the price and look at the value of what you're getting. It's the same with shopping. A lot of people look at the price and say, oh, that's expensive or that's cheap, but you actually have to look at the unit price, the price per ounce or per liter or per whatever, to really see if you're getting a good deal. So you have to look at the value, and for the value of what PlayStation Now is, I think the price is pretty good. I don't think it's unreasonable at all. But I don't know, maybe you guys have a different opinion, or maybe you have a different argument. Send us a tweet at 4G only, and we'll discuss it next week on episode 3 of 4GO. By the way, PlayStation Now is going to have a free trial. It will allow you to play any PlayStation 3 game you want that's available on PlayStation Now. That's over 100 games right now for 7 days. So a week-long free trial. In order to get the trial, you just need to download an app. It's 2 megabytes. It's not very much. If you're already a subscriber, you cannot do the trial. So there you go. It's not available in Europe right now, only available in the US and Canada. It could definitely expand in the future. So there we go.
UK will be the first country in Europe to get it.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Also, they released a PlayStation Now theme for your PS4. If you download the theme, you will automatically be registered to win, for a chance to win a whole year free of PlayStation Now as well.
I forgot about that. I downloaded that theme earlier today when I saw that.
Well, there you go. Download the theme and you're automatically entered. So hopefully you'll...
There you go, a full year. Honestly, I mean, really, what if you bought a full year? So that's 45 times 4, so that's $180 for all the PS3 games you can play for a full year. I mean, that's not bad. It's not bad at all.
It isn't. I mean, if you really just think about it, like, you're buying a game for $60, $64 with tax, we can say. You can, once the service becomes more prominent, they're starting to add more newer games, things like that, you can be paying $20 to play that game instead. Sure, you don't own it, but you can still play it. It's pretty much a rental service that, like GameFly. I believe GameFly charges the same price, $20 for 3 games a month that you can get from them.
Right.
But here you're getting over 100 games that you can play at any time that you want. Oh, here, I'm playing Final Fantasy 13. Oh, I'm bored. I'm going to go play Call of Duty instead. Do it on the fly.
Mm-hmm. And if I'm not mistaken, you can do it between different devices if you've got a Vita, too. It will stream to your Vita.
Well, right now the subscription service is only available for PS4, but it will be available for Vita and TVs very soon.
Yeah, it's rolling out slowly.
My TV, I got this TV because it's one of the TVs that will support the PS Now service when it comes out.
Yeah, right now only Sony TVs will do it. Eventually, Samsung TVs are also going to be integrated into it. So we'll just have to wait until that happens.
Guys, last week, or not last week, but last episode, we talked about Drive Club and just how resilient this game seems to be. It's still turning heads, ladies and gentlemen. It's still producing some beautiful, beautiful screenshots from gamers. Today, as I speak, it's the 14th of January. It's Wednesday. Drive Club announced on its Facebook page a new track. They posted a video on its Facebook page. If you want to see it, facebook.com/driveclubofficial. There's a video there previewing Nakasendo. It is a track in Japan, and it's coming in a free game update later this month. It's a brand new track in Japan. I think it's the first track not to be... Oh, no, never mind. I was about to say it's the first track not to be in Europe, but they've got India there as well, and that's in Asia. So there you go. Drive Club said, and I quote, "It's an epic point-to-point drive offering plenty of wide open sections for high-speed overtaking and long, with 4 O's, switchbacks where you can get your drift on." There's also a new car. The Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 Centennial Edition is included in the Season Pass and also available as part of an upcoming expansion pack. So we've got an American car. Drive Club's full of European cars. So here's an American car. We have that, and we have a new Japanese track coming in a free game update later this month. So I showed you guys the video of the or at least I showed you one of the videos. There's another one here on their Facebook page, a more complete one, if you want to take a look at it when you get a chance. But the one that I showed you, what did you think of the track and just how this looks and feels?
I honestly haven't watched the video yet.
You're such a slacker. You're sitting there playing Final Fantasy, and you can't.
I saw the video,
and you can't even watch a video for the podcast we're recording. Shame on you.
I didn't know we were going to talk about it. You could have told me.
Of course. I'm sitting here getting ready, like all the stuff for the podcast. I'm like, here's a video for you. What'd you think it was for?
Well, that's all you said. Here's a video for it.
Well, Ben, you watched it. What did you think?
I thought it was a car in the rain, and it looked very good. I don't know. It was just a car driving around in the rain, and it looked very good.
It looks very good. We'll take it. I think that
the car got wet.
The car got wet. I think that the track looks fantastic. I mean, I've been playing Forza. I have Forza 5, and I have Forza Horizon 2. I love Forza Horizon 2 to an extent. I'm not a huge fan of the tuning. Like, if I wanted to deal with the minutiae of tuning, I'd be a car enthusiast. I just want to drive, without spinning in every which direction. I play Forza and just with Forza, the graphics look really, really good, but there's still kind of a surreal, kind of almost cartoony aspect to them. I mean, they look beautiful, but there's just something that's about them that's definitely just not real. Yes, you did just hear League of Legends in the background. Sorry about that.
Who's playing a PC game while recording a podcast?
I'm not playing it. It's just on in the background, and someone invited me to a game, and it made a sound. Sure. But when I look at Drive Club, I mean, Drive Club doesn't have that weird falseness to it. And I say that with love, because I love the Forza games. But Drive Club just looks phenomenal, and since the work that they've been doing on it, it plays great. By the way, Drive Club also announced earlier today that the work on the systems that it was doing is complete, and everything should be completely online. No word yet on the free PS Plus version, but honestly, I think at this point, just if you go and get the regular version, I don't think that you'll be too disappointed. I think that it's a good game.
Also, it's discounted in Europe for Plus members.
That's true.
Half price.
Half price, goodness.
Oh, that's a good deal there.
That's a good deal.
Come on, America, get with the program.
Come on, America. Get with the program. You're still on the standard system of measurement. Come on.
I will say this, though. At this point, I don't think there will be a free edition of that game.
You think they'll scrap it entirely?
I think they will scrap it entirely, yes.
Why do you think that?
I don't know. Like that's just my feeling at this point. I don't know. It just seems a little too weird at this point to release it as a free game since it's been out for so long now.
I think
especially if it's like a watered down version of the game.
I think they'll do it. Just because, for one, a lot of people have been clamoring for it. And I think that if they just cancel it, they'll just take
Well, a
everybody
lot of people have been
off.
clamoring for it because they've been promised it. That's
Exactly.
the only reason.
So I think that if, after all that's happened to Drive Club, if they go back on that promise, they're just going to tick a lot of people off, because there are a lot of people who are still like, hey, before I buy this game, I'm waiting on the free PS Plus version so I can try it out.
And that's the only reason I haven't bought it yet, is because I want to try it out first.
Exactly. So if they turn around and say, hey, we're not going to do this anymore, I mean, I don't know if you would still buy it, but I could imagine that a lot of people would say, screw this.
At this point, I say release a demo instead.
Release a demo instead?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think they'll just go ahead with it, but I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not omniscient is the word I'm looking for. I'm not omniscient. I don't know everything. So, there it is. But Drive Club looks good. Drive Club looks very good. By the way, I'd love to see your screenshots. I'm quite a fan of looking around on Twitter and seeing all these beautiful screenshots that people have taken with Drive Club's photo mode. They're really phenomenal. Like, some of them, it's like, am I really looking at a video game? This looks like just a real life picture. Goodness, I'm looking at one right now that just has me just in awe. I'll give you guys a link to it. But definitely go ahead and look closer at Drive Club, because it looks like a phenomenal game. Let's move forward. We're done with the PlayStation news, at least as far as I know for now. Let's talk Xbox very briefly. Xbox One is going to have an update in February that will. It has a bunch of stuff. These updates tend to for Xbox, but the most notable feature in it is transparent blocks, the Metro design language that Windows likes, or Microsoft likes to use. With all the blocks and squares. Recently, I think in the November update, they allowed everyone to put backgrounds on the Xbox One's home screen area, and that's fantastic, and the backgrounds look great, but you can't see them because a good 80% of the screen is blocked by these giant tiles. Well, this new update coming in February will turn those tiles transparent. So you can see the tiles, and yes, there's still all sorts of different colors, whichever color you choose, but through the tile you can still see the image. So even though the color is different, you can still get that texture and see more of the image. It sounds like a really simple update, like not as simple as easy to execute, but just like, what's the big deal? But this is getting a pretty big response. People seem to love the idea. As someone with an Xbox One myself, I love the idea because my background is gorgeous. I love scenic views, and I have a really scenic background on it, and I can't see most of it, so I think it'll be kind of nice. Plus, the transparent tiles look good. You can see previews of those transparent tiles. Look for Xbox's Twitter. I think they've posted some. IGN has posted a few. Here is... here's a video. That's one thing I hate about IGN. You go to one of their websites and they automatically play videos for you. But here is an article that IGN wrote that has a few previews in one of the videos there of the tiles, if you want to take a quick look at them. So they look great. The update's available right now to those who are in the Xbox dashboard beta. Excuse me, I'm forgetting one other feature. There's also something called a Game Hub. It's just a big page where progression stats, achievements, details on DLC, leaderboards, and Twitch videos for any given game. They're all gathered from your friends and from the internet, from the community, and they're all put in one place. So you can look at a game and get like all the information that you would ever need on that game on one screen. So that's pretty cool. What do you guys think? I know you guys don't use Xbox One, but just from the sound of my voice and this link that I've given you, any thoughts here?
Anything to help the people who are irritated with issues like that.
Issues like what?
Like the blocky thing that you were talking about.
Oh, okay.
They're making it transparent now, which is nice. The one thing I will say, I commend Microsoft very much for releasing updates to their console every month and being consistent with it. I think every month they release an update, right?
I'm not sure they did for December or January. I'm pretty sure they took a hiatus from the updates for those 2 months.
Okay, well, that's understandable. It's a holiday season,
Right.
But I commend them for that. And at this, I'm kind of tired of waiting 6 months for Sony to release an update. So it's kind of nice to see Microsoft really improving their system as fast and as much as they can from player feedback and fans.
So you know what? It's really ironic that you say that. It really is, because Sony used to, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Ben that was telling me this earlier.
Yeah.
Sony used to do updates pretty frequently, kind of like Microsoft is doing. I don't know if they had them monthly, like on a set schedule like that, but
No, not really.
they had frequent updates, and it's player feedback that told them, hey, we don't want frequent updates, we want large updates once in a blue moon. And so now that they're doing updates once in the blue moon, there's a big perspective, not just from you, but from a lot of different gamers that's like, oh, well, Microsoft's working to improve its system. What are you doing, Sony? We don't hear from you for 6 months.
I think the difference is when Sony released an update, it was a stability update. Like 80% of the time. And that's what started to piss people off, because the updates took so long to download on your PS3.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about firmware 2.0? That wasn't a stability update. That needed stability updates once it was released. But the big draw for it was the feature updates. You had improvements to the video thing, the upload. What was it called? I don't know. The Share Factory. That's it. You had updates to Share Factory. You had some new features with how you play games with friends, the interactivity, I believe.
Share play.
SharePlay. I can't remember the names of these things. I don't know why. But it was a large feature update, and it did screw a lot of things up, but it was definitely a feature update.
Yeah, and that's nice, but it took them 6 months to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, in my opinion, from the way it's going, like, I feel like they release an update, and then they start working on the next update. They're not, like, working. They don't have teams that are constantly working on updates. Like, they finish one update, and then they begin the next features that they want to add into the system. Whereas for Microsoft, it seems they're working on one. Once they get to, like, I don't know, 80% done with the feature, they start working a little bit on the next update that they're going to do the next month, and let a smaller team finish up what they were doing before.
I think that sounds terribly inefficient. I'm sorry. Like, this is not a car podcast. I'm going to make this quick. General Motors is not a company that is known for reliability with cars. It's a good company. It makes good cars. But back in the day, years ago, it just faltered against the Japanese companies, and that was a big deal back then. And here's the thing. General Motors would go in, and they would... you had a bunch of people that really didn't care about the system, that really didn't care about what they were doing. There was the union thing going on, and there was a big us versus them mentality. And so what suffered was the cars. The quality of the cars. People would miss things, and no one would care, because the way General Motors' system worked, if you make a mistake, you cannot stop the line. The big thing, rule number one, never stop the line. And that was where Toyota and the other Japanese companies were strong, because if there was a mistake, they'd stop the line, fix it, and move on. Whereas with General Motors, you make a mistake, you keep it going, and someone at the end will have to take things apart, fix the mistake, put them back together again, which further harms the reliability of the product. And I say that because you can't just do something and then have other people finish it. You know, you can't just start something and then just say, hey, here, this is 80% done, here's this, and this, finish it up for us, because that makes the product unreliable. That's how you miss things, by opening that channel. I think it would be a much better system if Microsoft just, instead of having one team just start this and then get to a certain point and hand it off, just like have a bunch of smaller teams that each work on individual projects and have them all done in relatively similar times, and then move on together, so that the same people start and complete it. That, to me, sounds like a much more efficient system than, you know... I might have misheard you. Was that what you said Microsoft was doing, or is that like a guess?
That's not what I said. I said that's what it seems like.
Oh, okay.
That's why they're to roll them out so quickly.
Ignore my entire spiel there about General Motors. I thought that's what you said they were doing. I was like, that sounds stupid. Like, that's not a good idea at all, Microsoft.
No. Like, it just seems like no. Like, in my opinion, it's just like the same team works on it, right? They get the core stuff that needs to be done finished, and then the testing of it is left to the testing team while they go on and start working on the next set of features.
Right.
Whereas Sony seems like let's do the features all right now, and then once we release it, then we'll start brainstorming and whatever it is they're doing for the next set of features for the console. But that's just the way I feel.
That's the way it looks.
Yeah.
As outsiders, we can't really tell for sure what's going on, but I agree that does seem what it looks like. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I think right now, PlayStation Network is just causing a lot of problems, and I think that there's a big scramble almost to kind of get PSN to where it needs to be. So there are all these stability updates and all this maintenance and all this stuff happening, and I feel like they have to focus a lot more on that than they do adding new features and all that other stuff. I don't know. All we have right now is speculation. Is my basic point.
Well, see, that's how I felt about DRIVECLUB.
About DRIVECLUB?
Make sure the game works before you decide you need to release features for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was I think different. What you were saying was what? What were you saying about DRIVECLUB?
That when the game released, they probably should have made sure, like after release and had all those problems, they probably should have worked to fix those issues before they started adding, the new cars, the new tracks, all these little updates and stuff.
Oh, that wouldn't have mattered actually, just because it's the team that does the tracks and stuff probably isn't the same team that works on the servers. Like, they can't.
Well, yeah, I understand that, and that's, in my opinion, kind of how maybe the hardware side works as well for the updates.
Yeah.
Well, we just don't know.
As Ben said, you can't really ask the graphic designers to then start programming their network.
They're not server people. But speaking of DRIVECLUB, take a look at this. I mean, this picture here. This is a gorgeous screenshot. I can't get enough of these DRIVECLUB screenshots. I might just post this one to our Twitter just so you guys can see it. It's phenomenal. Actually, I'm going to do that right now.
Oh my god, that's so beautiful. I don't even know how that's possible.
I don't even know where that is, but as I speak right now, I'm going to put this on our Twitter. But anyway, I'll wait to post it on our Twitter until one of you is talking and I don't have to talk. Guys, speaking of Forza 6 was announced, I believe, today. Was it today?
I think it was earlier in the week.
Oh, it was earlier in the week. Okay, Forza Motorsport 6 was announced. It is the best-selling racing series on Xbox, and probably for good reason. It's pretty interesting because we had Forza Motorsport 5 just last year with the launch of the Xbox One. Then we had Forza Horizon 2, and now Forza 6. It feels like a kind of rush of Forza all of a sudden. And Forza Horizon 2 is a different kind of Forza. It's not the same kind of racing game that Forza Motorsport is. But definitely a lot of Forza coming out. Interestingly enough, there is a partnership with Ford going on. You will see a lot of Ford here. In fact, the new Ford GT supercar that is debuting from Ford is the cover car for the game. It's a beautiful car. I'm not a huge fan of Ford supercars. Just for style, I'm not a fan. But it's a very good-looking car, bright blue color on the cover of the game, and there is also a good lineup of Fords and other vehicles within the game itself. Have either of you played Forza before?
A little bit.
A little bit. Ben, what did you think of it?
I prefer Gran Turismo, but it is a pretty good game.
One thing that I don't like about Forza is when you play it, you just slide all over the place. It's less like you're racing and more like you're just tobogganing. I mean, it's like I'll take a turn, I'll take like a gentle curve at about 40 miles an hour, and my car will just start fishtailing like mad. And I'm told that the best way to conquer that is to use tuning and tune your suspension and tune your tires and you, the tuning system's very deep. You know, you get into tire pressure, you get into all sorts of stuff. And I don't know about cars that well, and I don't feel like studying cars just to play a video game. So I don't know. Forza. A lot of people love Forza, but it might not be for me.
I just wish it wasn't. I'm sorry, but it's Microsoft say it's the best-selling car game on the Xbox. Of course, it's going to be the best-selling car game on the Xbox. You release it every year. It's hard not to be the best-selling when it's out every year.
That's true. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Forza Horizon 2, by the way, I am struggling with the tuning aspect of it. If you have any advice, please let me know. But it's actually a really fun game. It's very beautiful. It's very lighthearted. There's good music. The racing is fun once you conquer the sliding thing. It's not just your random go around the track racer. It's open world and it's a lot of fun. So if you have an Xbox One and you enjoy racing games, definitely recommend Forza Horizon 2. We had very little Xbox news, as compared to PlayStation news. I think PlayStation is going to have a lot more news in this first half of 2015 than Xbox will. But that's it for Xbox for now. Gary, you mentioned that you wanted to talk about Nintendo earlier.
Yes, Nintendo.
Is there anything specific?
Well, they had Nintendo Direct today, where they announced a whole bunch of stuff, which is pretty nice.
That's good that you bring that up. That's what I was going to bring up. So, perfect.
Okay.
What did they... Tell us what they spoke about.
Well, they announced the release date in North America for the new Nintendo 3DS, which was the one they just released in Japan back in the holidays.
The one with the C-stick, right?
Yeah, the one with the second analog stick, the better 3D camera, the cooler buttons. The whole thing is just very improved over the original. So we're getting that. That comes out in February of this year. We also found out that Xenoblade Chronicles, which is a game that nobody thought was going to be released in North America for the Nintendo 3DS, is also going to be coming, which is nice. It was a Wii game that was exclusive to GameStop when it came out. And because it was exclusive, the price of it went up really fast. So like right now, if you try to buy that game, you'll probably spend over $100 on it. So it was rare. So it's nice that they're going to release that game and everybody's going to be able to play it now. If it's not for GameStop only. They announced, let's see here. They announced the next wave of amiibos for people. They've also announced how they're going to be used in other games. Like Toad is going to be used for Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. They kind of detailed how that's going to work. They announced that the ones that they've kind of discontinued a little bit, they're going to start restocking again, which is good. So don't spend those incredibly inflated prices for those amiibo figures. Let's see what we had here. They announced they're natively going to start releasing Wii games as digital downloads for the Wii U. So now you'll be able to just buy Wii games and play them on your Wii U. From what I know, before you had to have the Wiimote plugged into your Wii U in order to play Wii games on it. I believe now you don't need that, which is pretty nice. Let's see. The first wave of games is going to be Mario Galaxy 2, the Metroid Prime series, and another game. I don't remember what it is. But the first week that they're available, they're going to be available for 50% off. So they're all going to be about $10 a piece, which is pretty nice. And there's some other stuff. They announced a new Fire Emblem, which is coming to the Nintendo 3DS, the new Nintendo 3DS. So I don't know if, for those who don't know, there are some games that you have to have the new Nintendo 3DS to play. They will only work with that system. I believe Xenoblade Chronicles is one of those games.
That is correct.
Yes. I believe this new Fire Emblem is also going to be one of those games. I'm not 100% sure on that though. They announced a new free-to-play Pokemon puzzle game that's going to be released on the 3DS. It's like a Candy Crush puzzle game, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people will go crazy for that simply because it's Pokemon.
Goodbye, money. Bye bye. I loved you.
Yeah.
I liked you so much, but bye bye.
Yeah, let's see what else here. They announced some DLC characters for Hyrule Warriors will be released on February 5th. And I believe that is all the big news that they've announced. Yes, I believe that's all the big news.
Okay.
There's some more little stuff like guest characters for other games, but yeah.
Well, Nintendo is pretty famous now for its having these direct videos instead of a full-on press conference, which is in a way pretty smart. It saves them a lot of money. And just looking around the internet, a lot of people were pretty happy with all of this news. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the new 3DS. I'm not. I don't know why. It just doesn't feel like anything special. It's like it has an extra little analog stick. So it's not even a full-on analog stick. It's like a little button thing. Which I guess is what they did with the GameCube controller as well. It had that yellow C-stick thing. So I'm not a fan of the new 3DS, but it is coming. I believe it said February 13. Is that right?
13 or 17? 13th.
13.
You're right.
Okay. So actually, believe it or not, that's all I had for Nintendo. Like, I had the direct video. I had like a little prediction thing about the direct video and the new 3DS. So you covered all of that for Nintendo.
Interestingly, they announced the 3DS XL, but they did not say when or if the smaller model is going to be available for release.
From what I can tell, there won't be a smaller model in North America.
That's unfortunate.
I don't think there should be. I think the 3DS XL just delivers a better experience in general.
They also announced the special editions of the Majora's Mask 3D version and Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate are going to have their own designed Nintendo 3DSs now. Good luck getting them because the Majora's Mask one sold out in 15 minutes.
Good night.
Everywhere. GameStop sold out, Best Buy, Amazon, they all sold out in 15 minutes. So if you can find one, good luck. I don't know about
be on eBay for about $5,000.
I also believe they announced the release date for Majora's Mask as well. I believe it's April, but I'm not.
No, it's February, isn't it? I thought.
Is it February?
Yeah, I'm sure it comes out with the new 3DS.
Oh yes, it comes out on the day, I believe, the 13th. Sorry, Xenoblade Chronicles is April.
Okay. Well, that's all sorts of good stuff. That's all sorts of good stuff for Nintendo. I'm glad to see Nintendo doing some new stuff here. Even if I'm not a huge fan of the new 3DS, it's just they've been in such a weird place with the Wii U. And so now that the Wii U is finally getting somewhere and there's some good momentum behind it, some good software on it, I feel like Nintendo as a whole is just, I can feel them just ready to bring it. So,
just ready to bring it.
Just bring it. Just bring it. Just like The Rock. Just bring it. So we're looking forward to seeing what Nintendo has up its sleeves for 2015, and for that matter, Sony and Microsoft. Just a quick little blitz of news here. Sony is still working on Project Morpheus. The Oculus Rift creator said in an interview with Stuff.tv that Sony is doing a good job. He's the founder, Palmer Luckey. He was in an interview with Stuff.tv. He said, and I quote, I think Sony's also doing a good job. Like, we don't have any, and yes, he did say we don't have any kind of partnership with them, but they understand the problems in VR. They understand how to fix them, and they care about fixing them. There's a lot of companies that either don't understand how to make good VR, or they do understand it, they just don't care about doing it. I think Sony and Oculus both have similar philosophies where we realize that our products have flaws, and we know we have to fix them before shipping something to people because we don't want to piss people off with bad products. Their relationship has been friendly, surprisingly so. Sony and Oculus at first there were some concerns. Oculus was kind of concerned about Morpheus. It really feels like Oculus cares a lot about the technology, not just the product, the Oculus Rift, but they care a lot about bringing VR to people's hands. And so they were concerned about Project Morpheus because it seems like they were concerned about Project Morpheus because they were worried about the quality of Project Morpheus. As a matter of fact, I read that they actually invited Sony Computer Entertainment to their offices, Oculus that is, invited Sony Computer Entertainment to their to their offices. They had Sony try out the Oculus Rift, and they had Sony promise that the Project Morpheus would be at least at that standard. So it really feels like, Oculus just really cares about the technology behind it, and it feels like they're really approving of Sony's device, of the Project Morpheus. It feels like there's a lot of positive cooperation almost going on there. VR still does have a lot of flaws. It still does make some people sick. It's not for everyone, and I think it's going to be a good while before, if at all, if it can at all, become for everyone. Further on, oh shoot, there was something else. Where did it go? Here we go. Nintendo's new 3DS, according to Crave Online, if my article can load, it said that it wasn't made with consumers in mind. This seems like an opinion piece. It's on craveonline.com. It says that Nintendo kind of stands out as one with the most mindshare among consumers. Nintendo's products have always been really reliable. But what this author says, and remember, this does feel like an opinion piece. It's not Crave Online's official stance on the 3DS. But he says that the new 3DS has not been designed with consumers in mind. There aren't a lot of options. There's no emphasis on things like faceplates or customization, even though Nintendo's been talking a lot about faceplates. The whole problem with the 3DS XL versus the normal smaller size 3DS, there's that less customization. There are fewer options there. The 3DS XL, the new one, does not include an AC adapter in North America. So if you can buy a new 3DS XL, that's great. But if you have any plan to charge it, then you have to spend another $10 on an adapter to charge it.
Wait, it doesn't come with a power charger?
No.
Haha! Welcome to Europe. Haha!
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. How would you... What? If you release anything new like that, it automatically comes with a power charger.
You have to spend the... Let me just... I just want to double check here, and I'm just going to quickly Google.
Chances are you'll be able to use your old 3DS charger.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it, and it looks about the same. But the... Oh, yep, there it is. The new 3DS uses the exact same one Nintendo's employed since the DSi. So if you have previously owned a DS console, a DSi forward, you have the charger for the new 3DS already. But if you do not already have a DSi or forward charger, you are going to have to spend $10 for one if you hope to charge your new 3DS.
Still, haha, welcome to Europe. We've not had a charger since the original DS.
That is just mind-blowing, man. I don't understand that. How does that happen?
When the 3DS came out, they removed the charger.
I can hear you laughing in disbelief there, Gary.
It's completely... How can anybody believe something like this? I don't understand it. It makes no sense whatsoever.
I'm mystified, but it seems like that's true.
It's like releasing a new PlayStation 4 and it doesn't come with the power charger. And, the second-hand power charger is released the next month.
Mm-hmm. And what's interesting? The cost of the new 3DS is still $199.99, $199.99 in the U.S. So you spend all of that for the 3DS XL, and you don't get a charger. So there you go.
I hope you own the 3DS before that, because that's just stupid.
$10 isn't much for an adapter. Let's be honest. But
no, it's not. But it's something that has to be. It has to be included in the download.
It's just totally unreasonable not to include, like to serve. That's like a restaurant serving soup. A restaurant serves soup in a bowl, and you ask for a spoon to drink the soup with, and it's like, oh, sorry, we don't have spoons. You have to spend another $4 to get a spoon.
No spoon for you.
You know,
They give you a knife instead.
that's like buying a car and not giving it any tires. You know, oh, sorry, the tires are going to be another $500, which is actually a pretty good price for 4 tires. But that is, let me just be clear. That's laughable. That's laughable. It's unrealistic that Nintendo thinks that people still have their old adapters if that's why they're doing that. I mean, I don't I don't really get it.
It makes absolutely no
I don't really
sense.
get it.
There is nothing they can say to me that will make sense.
Um, Lastly, Crave Online's author here, his name is Jonathan Leack, Leack. He says that some games are coming out that are exclusive to the new 3DS. So if you want to play that game, like for example,
Xenoblade Chronicles.
yep, Xenoblade Chronicles, and I think The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask are.
Really? I didn't know Majora's Mask was exclusive.
I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm doing that from memory, but if you want to play that game, you're going to have to spend the $200 on the new 3DS XL, plus another $10 for the adapter. And that's it's kind of a lot to ask in a way. Like, I'm reading what he says here. He's saying that it's a lot to ask because this is not a big jump from previous 3DS models. That's what he says. And I agree. I'm sitting here saying I don't like the new 3DS because it doesn't feel like it's much different from what was already there. And it really doesn't. And you're asking people to spend the $200 to play. That kind of sucks. And you don't even give them a charger. Come on.
As I said, welcome to Europe.
Welcome to Europe. Welcome to Europe.
That's their excuse, by the way, for Europe was the fact that because of how many DSs and DSIs sold, chances are you've already got one in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no point putting just an extra bit of cost.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it's anything like Europe, I don't know what GameStop's like. They sound not that nice, from what I hear online. But a lot of the companies in Europe included a 3DS charger, a DS charger with every 3DS anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's not actually part of the deal, they're not supposed to. They would still include it in the package just for people that don't have one.
Okay. Well, this was supposed to be a quick run-through of a few different stories, but since we're talking again, what do you think of the whole story with the Oculus and the Project Morpheus?
It's nice that they're kind of communicating. It's not like some nasty rivalry between the two. But other than that, like I'm always happy when big companies like that work together. It's always nice to see, and I don't know, they'll probably learn a lot of stuff from each other. So it's always good to try to push new technology together rather than fighting over who gets to release it first or whose is better.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. It is pretty interesting. Ben, anything here?
Let me buy the Morpheus.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited for it. Like, with now Oculus Rift giving its kind of stamp of approval for the Morpheus in a way, I mean, goodness, I'm excited for this technology, both from Oculus and from Sony. I'm excited to see what comes of it. It's a huge investment here. Let's move forward here. PS4 has Deep Down as an exclusive. That was announced back in February 2013 with the announcement of the PlayStation 4. Capcom is aiming for, quote, the highest quality graphics of any PS4 game. And a lot of new info was coming out. This is in Capcom's annual report for 2014. You can find it by Googling Capcom Annual Report 2014. An update on Deep Down, along with a lot of other information, was included. The report's titled Breathing New Life into Next Generation Consoles with Deep Down, and it includes a lot of different information. There's information on the Panta-Ray game engine that they're using. There's just a lot of stuff. So if you get a chance, check that out. But most interesting is highest quality graphics of any PS4 game. And considering what DRIVECLUB's been doing, that's saying something. So we'll see what Capcom does. And finally, at least I think I had a finally. Nope, I don't have a finally. So that was it. So that's it for the news this week, guys. Any final comments here before we head out?
No, not really.
Not really. Okay, then. All right, then, guys. Thanks for sticking around for episode 2 of 4Gamers Only. We're done. Second episode's in the books. This starting over thing is weird. We left RDGH at episode 44, so now to be at episode 2 again is kind of special. But it is significant because we are starting from scratch here. We're completely independent. We're no longer with PlayStation Universe, even though we still love PlayStation Universe. Go check them out if you're a PlayStation fan. PlayStation Universe, PSU.com. So, guys, we are done with this episode. Gary, how can people contact you if they wish to do so?
They can contact me on Twitter at Gaglalush. That's GAGLAUSH.
Have you started using Twitter again?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. Ben, how can people contact you?
You can contact me at chili_ on Twitter. I've been taken at hotmail.com. Ben.ShilbearHall at PSU.com. Chili on NeoGAF. Chili on PSN. Chili on PSU forums. And outside my house.
You just walk up to his house and knock the door if you can find him. Your Twitter, you said chili_. Is it no longer chili_UK?
Yes, that's chili_UK, sorry.
Oh, okay, that's all right. If you wish to contact me, you certainly may. I am on Twitter at GoGlenn_ or by email at glenn.gordon@psu.com. I still do work for PSU, folks. I do. You can game with me on Xbox, totally not Glenn. PlayStation, you can game with me, but ask me for my name because I hate my name. And you can play League with me. I am the Space Music. Guys, we love music, and we love sharing music that we think gamers are going to love. One place we frequently pull from is Overclocked Remix. Now, this isn't paid promotion, and in fact, I don't think they have any idea that we exist, but we love what they and the talented remixers on their roster do. At the top of the show, you heard a remix from a fun little shooter game Konami made in 1991. It was called Detana Twin B. The song itself is called Crossing the Sea of Clouds, but the remix is called, it's called Butts. Hey, I didn't name it. Prozax is the remixer who made it. Go ask him. For our outro, you're about to hear an amazing remix by DDR Kirby, aka Timmy Wong. It's called Play With Me, and it's a remix from 1993's The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. We're going to play you the full song, so enjoy. If you don't hear it now, you should hear it shortly. Now, there's a lot more awesome stuff on OC Remix. You can download the 2 songs we used this week and many, many more amazing video game remixes in full and for free. Just go to ocremix.org. That's ocremix.org, not .com. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We're done for this episode. And tune in next week for yet another episode of 4Gamers Only. I have no clue what our sign-off is supposed to be. If we're supposed to have a sign-off, that's not decided yet. So, just for now, let's use the last one. It will be completely out of context and make no sense, but just for old time's sake. Until next week, we wish you a great week, great gaming, and don't be a racist.
And we'll see you next week on Forgetful Goats Online.
What are you talking about?
Believe in Gary.
Forgetful what?
Forgetful Goats Online.
Oh my goodness. I'll see you next week, guys.